You're welcome. Thank you.
Rudy Giuliani was known as America's mayor after the attacks of 9/11. It appears he'd now like to be known as America's president. Speaking at an event in the Hamptons over the holiday weekend, Giuliani said he'd run for president in 2008 if he could raise enough money. He certainly has the name recognition, but can the former New York City mayor overcome his very liberal positions on the social issues, gay marriage, abortion, gun control? Can he win the Republican nomination with his positions on those issues? For answers, we turn now to Air America radio show host and our old pal, Rachel Maddow. Rachel, welcome.
Hi, Tucker. Nice to see you.
I don't even know the answer to this question. I suspect, and I say this is actually kind of an attack on the Republican Party, but I suspect Giuliani could get the nomination because I think a lot of Republicans, certainly like a lot of Democrats, care in the end more about winning than they do about their own principles, and they would nominate this guy because they think he would beat Hillary, and I think that's a shame.
Well, I think that Giuliani could get the nomination. I think he would probably get the nomination because even though on those social issues he doesn't hit all the right litmus tests, he's not anti-abortion enough, he's not anti-gay enough, all of those other things, I think that
anti-gay enough. He's as liberal as you are on those issues.
But you know, but he's already changing on those too. His abortion position has been changing. He's now he was previously didn't have a problem with so-called partial birth abortion. Now he's decided that he's against it. On all of those issues, major politicians in the Republican Party tend to blow in the wind a little bit. You know it as well as I do. And he's blowing in the wind on that already. I don't think those social issues will hold him back. I think the reason that he does have a really good chance is that I think he's very much like Bush. I think that he would be a continuation of the Bush legacy type of candidate, and I think the Republicans are likely to do that.
I think that's going to be a disaster. I think a continuation of Bush is just what we don't need, a liberal masquerading as a conservative, which is what Bush is. He's
a liberal.
Yes, Bush has the most liberal foreign policy since Woodrow Wilson. I don't think there's anybody contesting that. The idea that we invaded another country.
War?
The idea look, that is preemptive. The doctrine of preemptive war has been understood by every civilization since the beginning of time. That's not new. The idea that you invade a country to save its people and to bring them democracy, now that is kind of radical.
That's not why we invaded Iraq.
That is absolutely the rationale for the Bush administration.
We invaded Iraq to make them a beacon of democracy. You really believe that?
No,
That's why they went? No. That's how they're justifying it to a liberal country. They didn't go for that reason.
Liberal. Actually, I don't think Americans buy that because they're not stupid. I certainly don't. I think more Americans, well, look, we're off on the Iraq thing. I'm just saying that despite the left's attempts to paint Bush as some kind of right-wing maniac, he does not hew to conservative principles down the line at all. He is actually quite liberal in many ways, and I think it's destroying his party.
The way that Giuliani is like Bush is all the important political reasons. They've wrapped him up in 9/11. He's got this carefully cultivated tough guy image.
Right.
Like Bush, he's much more, and he's always been much more about PR than actual policy, which they've turned into a political advantage.
Come on.
No, he's got a tough guy image, just like Bush has a tough guy image. He's also got all the cronyism and corruption problems that Bush has on the bad side. I mean, they had to unname the jail in Manhattan, the federal jail, after Bernie Kerik this weekend.
Well, it's not his fault.
Oh,
I mean,
come on. His housing commissioner,
the city of
head
8
of
million.
housing development.
Come on.
No, his Kerik, 2 other corrections guys, has had hospitals. All of these guys have pled guilty to corruption in his administration. He's just like Bush.
Rachel, as usual, you dislike people for all the wrong reasons.
Because of corruption on their watch? Yeah, I hate that.
That is such... Do you know what? You got to spend more time around government. We don't have a very corrupt system. I don't think Giuliani was an especially corrupt governor.
Oh,
and
my God.
I mean, rather mayor. And I don't think that's the issue. The issue is that he is a copy of Bush in his beliefs. And in the end, beliefs are what matter. Beliefs determine where the country goes. And I think they have beliefs that are too liberal for the country.
One closing thought, Tucker.
Yes.
I totally disagree with you, of course. The one reason that I think that Giuliani will not be president is because he's physically hideous.
Well, I think he's a very handsome man.
Of course you do.
On that upbeat note, Rachel Maddow, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tucker.
Critique the former mayor's physique. Well, North Korea's missile test sparks a new